Imagine discovering a cooling system so effective that it can keep a home around 55 degrees Fahrenheit using almost no electricity. And it has existed for centuries. Now imagine that instead of hearing about it everywhere, almost nobody talks about it. In fact, many homeowners have never even heard of it. And that's where this story gets strange, because buried beneath farms, hidden under fields, and quietly used by generations of practical builders is a simple underground tunnel system that seems to challenge everything we've been taught about modern cooling. Some people call it an earth tube, others call it a climate battery. But among certain rural communities, including Amish builders who have used variations of the concept for years, it's simply common sense. The question is, if the ground beneath your feet can cool your home for a fraction of the cost of air conditioning, why aren't entire neighborhoods using it today? The answer is far more interesting than you think. By the end of this video, you'll understand why a simple tunnel costing a few $100s can outperform systems that cost thousands. Every summer, millions of Americans repeat the same ritual. The temperature rises, the AC turns on, the electric bill explodes, and people accept it as normal. Please make sure to subscribe to my channel. But what if the biggest cooling machine in the world isn't a machine at all? What if it's the planet itself? A few feet below the surface, something remarkable happens. While the air above swings from freezing winters to scorching summers, underground temperatures remain surprisingly stable. In many parts of the United States, soil temperatures just a few feet down stay somewhere between 50 and 60 degrees Fahrenheit year-round. Think about that for a second. When it's 95 degrees outside and your AC is fighting for its life, the earth beneath your lawn is quietly sitting at a comfortable temperature, almost unchanged, like a giant thermal battery. And this isn't some new discovery. Ancient civilizations understood it thousands of years ago. Long before electricity existed, people built homes, food storage chambers, and entire underground structures that used the Earth's natural temperature to survive extreme climates. The Persians built ingenious cooling systems in desert regions. Underground tunnels carried air through cooler earth before it entered buildings. The result felt almost magical, except it wasn't magic. It was physics. And that same principle is still available today. But that wasn't the most interesting part. The real surprise came when modern engineers began testing these systems. Researchers found that when air travels through long underground pipes, the surrounding soil naturally absorbs heat. Hot summer air enters one side, cooler air exits the other. No compressor, no refrigerant, no massive energy bill, just air and dirt. Simple, yet incredibly effective. At first, that sounds impossible. How can a plastic pipe buried underground compete with sophisticated air conditioning systems? The answer lies in something most people never think about. Temperature isn't just about air, it's about heat transfer. Imagine placing a hot soda can into a bucket of cool water. The heat naturally moves from the can into the water. The same thing happens inside an earth tube. The hot air gives up its heat to the cooler ground surrounding the pipe. And by the time that air reaches your home, it can be dramatically cooler, sometimes by 20 degrees or more depending on the design and climate. Suddenly, that 95-degree air becomes something far more manageable. And this is where things get fascinating, because the story isn't really about cooling. It's about independence. For decades, homeowners became increasingly dependent on larger systems, more equipment, higher energy consumption, and rising utility costs. Meanwhile, some rural builders quietly kept using simpler solutions, not because they were trying to make a statement, because they worked. Many Amish communities became known for embracing practical technology only when it delivered clear value. No marketing hype, no unnecessary complexity, just results. If a system could reduce energy consumption and improve comfort, it earned respect. And earth-based cooling systems fit perfectly into that philosophy. What happened next changed everything. As energy costs climbed across America, interest in passive cooling began exploding. Architects started revisiting forgotten techniques. Homesteaders began experimenting. Sustainable building experts started asking an uncomfortable question. Had we overlooked one of the most powerful cooling resources sitting directly beneath our homes? The answer appeared to be yes. But there was a catch. And this catch explains why you don't see earth tubes everywhere. Building a successful system requires understanding moisture. When warm air meets cool surfaces, condensation forms, just like water droplets on a cold glass. If underground pipes are poorly designed, moisture can accumulate. That can create maintenance issues. Some early systems failed because builders ignored this detail. Critics pointed to those failures and declared the entire concept flawed. But that's like saying cars don't work because some people forget to change the oil. The problem wasn't the principle, the problem was the execution. Modern design solved many of these issues using proper drainage, airflow management, filtration, and installation techniques. When designed correctly, the system becomes far more reliable, and suddenly the economics become hard to ignore. Imagine spending thousands every year running conventional cooling. Now compare that with a system that uses the stable temperature of the Earth itself. Even when an earth tube doesn't completely replace air conditioning, it can dramatically reduce the workload. Your AC runs less, your energy use drops, your costs fall, the savings compound year after year. But the most shocking discovery came from homeowners who combined multiple passive techniques together: earth tubes, strategic shading, insulation, reflective roofing, natural ventilation. Each improvement alone produced modest gains. Together, they transformed entire homes. Some reported comfort levels that seemed impossible given the outside temperatures. And this reveals a powerful lesson. The biggest breakthroughs often don't come from a single invention. They come from rediscovering principles we've forgotten. For years, the conversation around cooling focused on bigger units, higher efficiency ratings, and smarter thermostats. Those things matter, but they address the symptom, not the source. The earth tube approach starts with a completely different question. Instead of asking how to remove heat after it enters the house, it asks how to prevent that heat from becoming a problem in the first place. That shift in thinking changes everything. And here's where many viewers will be surprised. Nobody actually made these systems illegal nationwide. That's one of the biggest misconceptions floating around online. What happened instead is more subtle. Building codes, permitting requirements, liability concerns, moisture standards, and conventional construction practices gradually pushed many builders toward standardized HVAC solutions. Large-scale adoption became rare. Knowledge faded. The concept moved from mainstream construction into niche communities and specialty projects. In other words, the system wasn't erased overnight. It slowly disappeared from public awareness. And that may be the most important lesson of all. Sometimes valuable ideas don't vanish because they stop working. They vanish because people stop talking about them. Today, as homeowners face rising energy costs and increasing pressure on power grids, these forgotten ideas are attracting attention once again. Engineers are studying them. Builders are revisiting them. And ordinary homeowners are asking questions their grandparents might have considered obvious. What resources already exist around me? What simple solutions have I overlooked? What if comfort doesn't always require more technology? Because beneath every house sits an enormous reservoir of stable temperature. Quiet, constant, patient, waiting to be used. The Earth has been offering free cooling for thousands of years. Most people simply stopped paying attention. And maybe that's the real story here. Not that a secret tunnel can magically replace every air conditioner, but that some of the smartest solutions are hiding in plain sight, buried beneath our feet, waiting for curious people to rediscover them. If you enjoyed uncovering this hidden piece of forgotten engineering, make sure to subscribe to Life Decoded, because the world is full of powerful ideas that somehow slipped through the cracks of modern life. And the next one might completely change the way you see your home, your money, and the systems you depend on every day.